My name is AJ Sochianda. This is my capstone presentation of my extended foster care smartphone application. Studies have shown that many youth who are aging out of foster care end up experiencing negative life situations like poverty, substance use, mental health challenges, homelessness, criminal involvement, lack of higher education. There are federally funded programs to assist youth in combating these adverse outcomes, and extended foster care is one of those programs. Connected with extended foster care are things like independent living skills, which provide resources to youth where they can learn how to budget or how to look for employment or how to look for housing. Uh, these programs are marginally underutilized and under able, the research shows, they're not meeting the needs of the youth when they are participating in the programs for multiple reasons, and they're different in every area. So depending on whatever staff that you're working with or whatever area that you're living in, these programs are wildly varied in what they can offer each youth. So this smartphone application's purpose is to create a way where youth can have at their fingertips all of the information that they need for the resources available through the extended foster care program and the community partners that provide things like ILS and housing and employment help. And will also allow them to have reminders about what the requirements of the program are and what they need to do and when. So right now, the way that it's set up, the social worker provides the youth with a lot of information, all in paper form, at a meeting that we call a 17 and a half staffing, about 6 months before they are 18. And we provide all of that information and we tell them what they are able to do in the EFC program and the requirements of staying in the program. And we give it to them all at once. And by the time that they are 18, if they opt into the program, then we start the court process and we allow them to be in extended foster care. So during my research in grad school, I was able to meet with a lot of youth and a lot of foster parents and some community providers about the extended foster care program. And we determined that creating a smartphone application that had all of the eligibility requirements and all of the checkpoints and links to all of the resources would be very helpful for not only participants, but also for social workers to be able to refer to and provide consistent information to each youth. So this smartphone application is very important because it's necessary to get all of the information that is out there in one place and be able to provide it in a friendly, user-friendly way to the participants that should be accessing it. So extended foster care youth need to be able to access the community resources that can provide them skills to be able to be successful in extended foster care, and more importantly, successful when they graduate from foster care and they're out living life on their own. And our goal in giving this smartphone application to everybody that needs to access it or should access it is, again, to be consistent in what we're providing, but also just to streamline all of this information in a way that is more accessible and can easily be just a resource, a tool that can be used in a more friendly way than a bunch of brochures given at one meeting. So there are a few different outcomes that we are hoping can happen from this. So the first outcome that I'm going to talk about here is outcome one. So our app being used by social workers and extended foster care youth. One of the things that I was able to gather in my research was that there are many things that social workers are not so sure of and they have to figure out themselves. And so it would be really great if the social worker could pull up the app and say, oh, what's that financial document that I need to have this participant fill out? And also direct the youth specifically to that document so that they can use it. The youth being able to just access all of this information on their phone is extremely helpful. Be able to get notifications, hey, check in with your social worker for this month as per your requirement. Make sure that they know that you're working or going to school or doing whatever, whatever you need to be doing. So the indicator of that outcome would be that the youth are accessing the application and that they report that their social worker is communicating that they're also accessing that. So that could be that the social worker gave them the information to start looking in the application for whatever it is that they needed, or referred back to it. Another indicator would be that the social worker reports that they showed the youth how to access the app, or that they referred the youth to the app for a reason like a document. Outcome 2 would be that resources and life skills are being utilized by the extended foster care youth. So that could be that they are clicking on a link to find a housing in their area, which again is different in each area. So maybe they click on a link and they go to community youth services for Thurston County and they can learn all about what housing might be available to them. Or maybe they're clicking on a link to figure out which ILS providers in their county and how they can access that information. So the indicator would be that that youth is reporting that they're accessing that. And then the third outcome would be that they are connecting with these providers. So the way that we would know that they're connecting with those providers is that they're able to report to themselves that they're linking to these providers because of this application. And also the community providers are reporting that they're getting more engagement from youth that are eligible to engage in their program. So Independent Life Skills is a community provider program, and it's different per each county. So there's a different provider for each county. And so their contact informations are all different. And so this application would allow the user to just click on which one in their area is who they need to contact and what they need to do, which would be super helpful. So to evaluate these outcomes, we would send out survey links per the application as a notification. And so the active user would get a notification that says, answer a few questions, tell us how this app is working for you. And so per their answers, they would say, oh yeah, I checked out this and I talked to my social worker, or I didn't. And also social workers would get those notifications if they have the app on their phone. Community providers would get those notifications, and that's how they would answer the survey questions to tell us what's working and what isn't. And we could evaluate that 3, 6, 9 months and a year out. We also can make reports through the application and allow us to know what's being clicked on outside of the application. So it'll tell us this is how many active users we have, and this is how many times they've clicked and gone away from the application. And if they've gone away from the application, then they're using those resource links to access those resources. So the only risk that can be determined at this time for this smartphone application is that it does have a small fee associated with it. And so DCYF would be signing on to pay $25 for an Android account if they don't already have one. I assume that they do. And that's just a one-time fee. And they would be paying an $100 annual fee if they don't have an iPhone application, again, which I assume that they do. But that could still be allotted for the budget. The other piece of the budget that would need to be provided by DCYF is a salary for their tech staff. So in terms of maintenance of this application, somebody is going to need to be able to send out the notifications when needed and check in and to do the report occasionally. And so by my determination, that would be about $4,844 annually for a tech staff to manage. Again, it's a low cost benefit, but a risk, but it is definitely something to, be aware of. I have some references down here that we can refer to if needed. And that is really it.